Our session is going to have three parts. But first of all, let me introduce myself. So our session is going to have three parts. I'm called Gloria Jongwe. I am a financial consultant. I'm a certified financial coach. Anything to do with money, I'm very much interested because I've taken a journey myself. And everything I'm going to talk to you about, I'm going to talk from experience or for something that I've taken time to learn. So, in my other life, I run a company called Mother Nature Establishments. I work with local manufacturers where we sell and distribute their products and hoping that one day we'll get their products onto the Inter-Africa trade platform, whereby the Ghana products can be out there on the African continent and can be consumed by all Africans, and we can open up spaces where we are manufacturers, we are industrialists, and not only agriculturalists. So that is what I do. The certification for the financial coaching is under the Straightforward Financial Growth. I do masterminds, I teach people how to manage their money and how to grow it. I have trained financial literacy, I think, for the last 10 to 12 years, and it is a very dear topic to me. Even though you don't pay me, I will train. So, because I feel like it's a space that our education system does not tackle at all. They'll teach you to be lawyers, they'll teach you to be teachers, they'll teach you to be doctors, but nobody ever teaches you about money. And if we're taught about money earlier in life, I bet you our economy will not be where it is now. But it's only then when you get later on in life that you start to figure out what's it about money. And sometimes for some people it's already too late to make some changes. So I'm going to invite my colleague, now that I've introduced myself, I'm going to invite my colleague, David Alan Emolot, to introduce himself and give us an overview on money, politics, finances. Then we will get into that. Over to you.
Hi. I think we're all satisfied at least, isn't it? How many are hungry? You know, yesterday communication skills, like when you're starting, start with something that is near. But good afternoon to all of us. Are we okay? Yes, I'm not taking very long. I see we have about a few minutes to go. It's already at 3. My name is Emolot Alan David, and I do facilitate at the GNLC. In my other world, I do lead youth in the business, young entrepreneurs in business, but from the African Union level. So I chair the council, the Continental Youth Body, that is called the Independent Continental Youth Advisory Council, the AFCFTA, what my colleague Gloria was talking about, to mainly ensure we, the young traders who are within Uganda, within Africa, get to trade across the border with your goods or services, especially the young Africans who are the bigger majority. Our presentation today is very simple, and I will mainly speak about the boat that we see here, what our senior Mwalimu Julius Nyerere was saying. He says, if real development is to take place, the people have to be involved. And you may wonder, how is this related to financial literacy? During my earlier years at university, I just forgot to mention, is that I was also a student leader. At UCU, I served for all the years I was at university and ended up at the Guild Vice President. And I think one of the Vice Presidents also here. That was way back when I think you were still in primary school. But why I'm, I think, focusing my discussion on this is mainly why financial literacy is important, especially for those young leaders at school. The whole purpose of being in student leadership is to leave a mark, to leave an impact. But you can't leave an impact when you don't have an idea of how to manage student finances. And student finances, you will later on see when Madam Gloria is taking you on the issues of around budgeting and financing. But I think what I want to hit on is that as a young leader aspiring to lead your fellow students, mainly from the campaign stretch into the guild leadership, what plan do you have to manage university money? University money during our time, we used to have our bulk money. The university would give you about like 300 million. You would have it in the safe in the guild office. And we would do with it everything. To some of us who had girlfriends, we would even open boutiques for our girlfriends. To some of us who had, because you didn't know what to do with the money. But, and this was because of one thing. We, the young people, are mainly interested in leadership, but we don't know how to manage leadership. And management of leadership is not about how good you can speak, how eloquent you are. Management of leadership is also how much you can use the resources you have. However little it may be, however much it's 10,000, how much can you manage? We used to have what we call the barazas, where we used to make free money out of the university. We open up every semester. We have a baraza for first years to buy their dorm things. That is money unaccounted for. Already government, the school is giving us money. Already we are also networking with different partners to bring money to our pockets. But how they use that money to impact what Mwalimu says here, that real development, if it's to take place, the people should be involved. You are a leader. What are you doing? What have you done right now within your own budget? Some of you maybe you're beginning your term, some of you are towards the end of your term. Very soon you will hand over. What is that one thing that you want to be remembered for? That you will use the little guild fund that you get to make the impact. What is that one thing? And that's where financial literacy comes in. That's where the knowledge of budgeting, the knowledge of how best to use the little. I always love telling people that today, if you go to UCU, you will ask them who launched the tarmac road that you see at the university. The university now is fully tarmacked. The students of UCU now have what they call the guild park. You go there, you find where you're swinging from. There is a lot of innovation that we did in about 7 months, because guild leadership is 1 year. But 7 months of our leadership, there is something that my son, after 5, 10, 15 years, right now when he's to join university, there is something. He just needs to say, my father was a Molot, he was a guild, somebody here, and he will be remembered. But you now who is leading the office, how best can you use the little resources you have? And this is the instance of us and Madame Gloria giving you this knowledge of financial literacy that is supposed to enable you to open up your mind on how best you can use the little resources. But most importantly, not depend on university resources, but also use your positions as the vice president, the guild president, to begin knocking the doors that are going to bring money into the projects that you have created within your 1 year budget or 1 year program. We benefited so much from the outside partnerships than the university money. If anything, we left the university with a bit of money that we had already mobilized from different partners. So allow me end here, and we will again be back and just bring in my colleague Gloria. But this is just to trickle your mind that if development is to happen, it needs to be people-centered. You are guild leaders. If you want to leave an impact that is lasting, I've given you my own. I'm speaking less about it. You will learn such about it. But if you are to leave an impact that you will be remembered, what is that one thing you're going to use with the little resources you have? That's where financial literacy comes in. Asante sana.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for that introduction. He needed to give it because I needed you to have a perspective from a student leader. I mean, I wasn't a student leader in university, I will not lie. I went to Makerere University Business School. Apart from the strikes around election time, I clearly do not remember the student leadership, but I'm glad that you're in leadership, and there's a lot that you can do. But they always say that a great man once said to me that the one thing you're struggling with. If you're struggling with money, if you're struggling with relationships, if you're struggling with anything, it is one thing that you lack: knowledge. If you can get the knowledge in that aspect that you're struggling in, then the rest is history. You make a decision to say, I am struggling with this situation, I'm not reading my books very well, I'm struggling with leadership, seek the knowledge in that area, and your problems will end there. Yes? That is why all the facilitators have labored to teach you all the things that they taught you since Monday, just yesterday. Yeah? Because once you have the knowledge, there's nothing that can fail you. Yes? So I just wanted to take a different approach to our training. And I wanted to speak into the people that have gone before us. So, Philip, kindly come and help me. So I wanted to speak into the richest political leaders. And they've been these people that even then when you speak about them, you know they have money. Yes, they are leading and they have money. Everybody knows. But when you look at the economies of the countries they run, it doesn't make sense. Then you ask yourself, where did he amass that wealth from? When the country he's leading is running at a GDP lower than any other country in the continent or in wherever place it is. So you ask yourself, in an economy now like Gabon, where Ali Bongo was, to be rated a $1 billion net worth. But when you look at the economy, you ask yourself, where did he get that wealth from? If he's the president of that country, he has been a leader in that country. So there are certain things that don't make sense. So when you look at leaders like this in Africa, and you look at the economies, something doesn't add up. We'll go next. Then there are strategic leaders. These are leaders that are looked out for the things and the projects they've done in their own countries. The impact they've had, because they realized what they needed, followed a strategy, and came up with a very good plan to say, our country needs this, our people will take this direction. Because you're the leader, yes? Now, I tend to ask myself, between a strategic leader and a servant leader, what do they have in common? The servant leaders have the vision. The strategic leaders have the execution. So, in order to be a good servant leader in Africa, where we are, when you look at the strategies of Julius Nyerere, and you look at Nelson Mandela, and you look at Magufuli, they had one thing: unity, to work together to do things that benefit the people. It has never been about who's better, who's what, who's the tribe, because once we come together to do things, to do projects that will actually enrich our countries, enrich our communities, we are all better off for it. It doesn't matter if I'm coming from Lambo, if I'm coming from Acholi, if I'm coming from Mbarara, it doesn't matter. So long as all of us benefit, that is one thing. So they built big visions of things that they wanted to do. And when you look at the things that Julius Nyerere did, he really pushed the Ujamaa philosophy, familyhood, my brother, my sister. Yes? I remember Dr. Susan and a couple of other facilitators have talked about it, where it didn't matter what tribe you are. For me, I always believe this tribal aspect is a matter of to get people to start picking on each other, because Dr. Simba said, if they want blood on the floor, would they know it's Osoga blood, Muganda blood? No one wants to know. Nobody wants to know. If you go to the hospital and you die, would you first say, what tribe are you before you treat me? When you're here, kicking. Whatever doctor they bring you, what? You're allowed to be treated, right? So, servant leadership, they came up with concepts. Now, when you look at them, I went back and I studied all the things they did. All of them built on unity. Let's work together for the common good. All of them looked at empowerment. And whenever they looked at the unity, they wanted to bring people together to do big things for themselves. They talked about economic independence. Julius Nyerere focused on economic independence in agriculture and industry. That was then. Yes, he brought the Tanzanians together. Something with Nelson Mandela, black economic empowerment. He noticed the state in which the black South Africans were in, and he's like, no, we cannot live like this. Something with Magufuli. He wanted people to conceptualize the vision of industrialization. You have all noticed the structure in all economies that grow. They start off with agriculture, they start to industrialize, then they build an economy to digitalization. We cannot skip that space. Until Africa decides to industrialize, we are not going anywhere. We've sung the song of agriculture for so long. Until we have products that have value addition, we're not going anywhere. So there was so much that these leaders had to do. So then it got me to go ahead and look at servant leadership in full. And it says servant leaders financially empower their communities. So if you're a leader and all you say is people power, mind power, but the people in your community, their lives have not changed, you have not done anything. You're supposed to empower them to do things for themselves, not wait for election day to give them source balance. No, that is not servant leadership. So you help them start things, creating opportunities for economic growth, stability. And how do you do that? Community development operations. My colleague Emily talked about it. Where do we get money to run this project? You will look for partners and find them. They always say somebody with a vision will always find provision. If you have a good vision for something, there will always be money, somebody willing to give you the money. Create microfinance programs. People are looking for money, they have ideas that they don't have the financing to do that. Then also look at the policies. You are a leader at a university, maybe you're a gender leader. What are the guidelines for gender? So that when you know them, you know how to help your people come up. Yeah? So, I will take the step to tell you what financial literacy is. When you're financially literate, you will know where to go, you'll know what to do. So, financial literacy is the ability to understand money and how it works. If you do not understand how money works, and you realize you don't have money in your pocket, you're financially illiterate. You have to learn that. And I can guarantee you, because the education system does not have this, you're going to have to take a step to teach yourself, read the right materials and do research. And Tony Robbins always goes to say, you either master money, or on some level, money will master you. That's why you look at some people, they only get money, and when they get money, they turn into something else. Have you seen those people? When they don't have money, they're very humble, and then they get it. Then they start telling people, I have bodyguards, I have what? So we were talking at lunchtime with my colleagues, and we say, you can never know a person in totality until you meet the version that has money. That is the real them. The ones who were quiet and timid and nice when they didn't have money, that wasn't them. So sometimes the having of money determines what you are. So you have to be able to know how to relate with it. So I cannot live without taking you through the principles of financial literacy. You have to earn it. That is the first principle. For you to say that you're financially literate, you have to know how to make money. You have to come up with ideas, you have to come up with products, you have to know how to make it. You have to learn how to make it. And the one thing that I know is that there are always problems in our communities that can be solved for us to make money. As student leaders, you are not going to look anywhere else. Look within your community. The ideas and the opportunities are there for you to make money. But after you have made it, you're going to have to save it to invest it. If you don't save your money, you have not earned it. If you wake up in the morning and get 5 million shillings, and you give the lady in the market, you give the lady at the boutique, you go to the bond and buy a car, you can do what? All that money that you have spent is not yours. The money that you save and invest is what you have paid yourself. Yes?
So you always have to invest that. Then the third one, you have to spend. So you've earned it is 100%. I request you save at least 20% for future use. Spending, at least keep it at 60% of what you have made. Those of us who believe in different faith beliefs, you go to the mosque, you go to church, at least put some money there and give to people in the community to use. Then you can borrow. You cannot borrow when you don't earn. If ever anyone comes to you and says, lend me, when you hear those two words, what did I say? What did I say? Lend me. If any time somebody gives you that statement, corners you somewhere and says, my dear student leader, lend me. The first question you should ask, how are you going to pay me back? Because you cannot start to borrow if you cannot make money. You have no right to borrow if you can't earn it. So even before me, if you come to me, Anonymous, I have to ask you, how are you going to pay me back? So that it gives me an assurance that my money will return. If there's no plan, you have no business touching my money. So you have to learn that. You have to make it. Before you start borrowing, you're making money. Then the fifth aspect is protecting. You have to protect yourself because there are going to be moments of plenty and there are going to be moments of scarcity. That one is a given. Even the richest people go through those stages where there are days the business will go down, whatever they invested in lowers, and there are sometimes when they are in so much money. There are days of plenty, there are days of scarcity. That is how it is. That is reality. So when you protect yourself, you're going to have to prepare for those days. Now, in those stages, there are three things that stand up from the pillars. When it comes to earning money, you at least, if you want to say that I'm doing very well, you should have a minimum of 8 income streams. 8 things that give you money. Minimum of 8. So I want you guys to start writing. What are those 8 things? Okay, some of you are students, but still, there's no excuse. You can still be making money now. 8 income streams. Minimum 8. If you ever hear somebody who's trying to rely on one income stream, there's a problem. Because once that one income stream goes away, you're back to nothing. Yeah? Secondly, 80% of that revenue that you make, that money that comes in, should be passive income. Passive income, what do I mean by passive income? Money that you will make whether you're sleeping, it will still be made. You don't have to be present to make money. So in those 8 income streams, make sure you look for income streams that make you money even when you're not there. Yes? You've brought this one income stream, start to invest in things that bring you money even when you're not present. That is passive income. Then, monthly passive income should exceed your monthly expenses. Robert Kiyosaki says, for you to get out of the rat race, what he considers the rat race was paycheck to paycheck, paycheck to paycheck. So you get allowances as student leaders, right? You get allowances. Have you found yourself in a situation where that allowance comes on the 24th and you only have money that takes you up to 25th? Who am I talking to? Who am I talking to? But please don't look at me like that. Who am I talking to? Put up and be honest. Eh? You're in the rat race. You're on that thing. You know those rats that keep running on that thing, but it's going nowhere. That's what they call the rat race. Robert Kiyosaki says, you have to create income streams that give you passive income that exceeds your monthly expenses. So, if your passive income, the money you make on the investments that you have created that you don't have to be there for, can meet your monthly expenses, then you're out of the rat race. But if every month on the 20th, the day before they pay that allowance, you have nothing to, you can go to that restaurant next to the hostel and tell the lady, today I'll eat on credit, I'll pay you tomorrow. Yeah? You're in the rat race. So you have to create income streams. Then, saving an investment, save with a purpose in mind. When you save money, not knowing what you're going to use it for, eventually you're going to use it. Then the other one, seek knowledge before investment. You saw that thing that went around about people who are investing in chicken. You come and invest in chicken. I don't know what that thing was. Invest in chicken, then they say that I'll give you a return every month. Never invest your money where you have not understood how they're going to make that money back. You'd rather keep it in a savings account. Never ever. With whatever investment you decide to make, you who is putting the money, make sure you have read, you have understood how that money comes down to that money you are going to make. If